Hey there, friends. I am so happy to be back here today with my friend Cindy Broadway. Hey, Cindy, how are you today?
Hello, I'm doing really well. Thank you.
Good. We're so happy to have you. For anybody that missed it, last week we did a Day of Joy summit, and Cindy and I both were there, and we had six other women actually with us,
Hmm.
and we
Yeah.
all talked about joy and how we brought joy into our lives and things like that. And
Hmm.
today we want to spotlight Cindy and get her to talk to us one on one. And her topic is stumbling on happiness. So that's a very intriguing topic, and I am interested in hearing about it again also. So, Cindy, before you get started, let me ask you, do you have a favorite quote or verse about joy or happiness that you can share with us?
Yes, I do. I have several. I'll be sharing one in my talk just a minute. But one of my favorite verses is Psalm 16:11. And it says, "Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand, oops, let me turn that off. At thy right hand, there are pleasures forevermore."
I love it. That is absolutely a favorite. I do like the fullness of joy. Now, for any of you that aren't familiar with Cindy, I want to tell you she is a certified self expansion coach. She transitioned to online coaching and consulting, where she provides guidance in structured social emotional learning frameworks. And that's a mouthful.
Yes.
Okay, listen, Cindy, you take it away and talk to us today about stumbling on happiness.
All right. I will be glad to do that. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I want to share with you my thoughts on stumbling on happiness versus generating joy. There's two different things. A lot of people feel like happiness and joy can be used interchangeably, but I'm a person that likes to focus on the intricate differences between those two words. I'm kind of a word junkie, and so that is something that has been with me throughout my let's see, throughout my, oops, Google Slides. No, I was trying to share my screen here. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. And I'm going to share my screen and I want to show you, and I'm going to use my slideshow here because I am an educator and I am a firm believer in using all of your senses. And I firmly believe that using visuals is really an excellent way to commit some of these thoughts to memory. So I appreciate each one of you being here and spending time with us as we talk about stumbling on happiness and, like I said, generating joy. So, if you're listening and you'd like to share something in the comments, how do you distinguish between the two, happiness versus joy? So let's talk just a little bit about those things. Before we start, like Louise said, I am a self-expansion coach, and basically, I like to help people create transformation. I want people to learn to practice consistency because that's where the true joy can be explored. And then learn how to build your self confidence around this joy. And I am a mom and a wife and a caregiver. I have 11 grandchildren. I also love to go glamping, and I have been a mentor and a coach since 2000 or since 1980. So, and that is my focus really is on helping those with differing abilities, regardless of your age, your responsibilities, to find hope, to find options for practicing empowerment. And I also have a Mind Moments membership, and I'm a jewelry designer with a she shed. So in this picture, you kind of see me and Teddy hanging out in the she shed. So let's talk a little bit about joy. Before we get started, though, let's take some breaths. I call it my breath break. It's going to generate just a few minutes of internal joy before we even get started. And I'd like for you to participate with me. You can use this time to kind of recenter and maybe reduce some stress that has already cropped up earlier this morning. Regulate your emotions and just focus on your breath. You can have your eyes open or closed. You can be standing or sitting, either way. Sometimes even lying down is a good way to really embrace stillness. And we're going to repeat 3 times the cup and count. So basically you choose a number between 4 and 6, and then you slowly count up to that number when you inhale, and then count back that number when you exhale. So let's really dive into this breath break and see how you feel when we come out of it. I know one of my favorite things about taking a breath break is just the feeling of being recentered and focusing my mind. All right, let's talk about joy. And my feeling is that joy is not found in external circumstances. It resides within the depths of our own mind, waiting to be activated by a shift in perspective. So it's not something that we create, it's something we generate, something that we can activate. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Let's look at the difference between the concept of happiness and the concept of joy. With happiness, we often link our feelings of happiness to some sort of an event. An exterior event, some circumstances in our lives, and this is often referred to as situational happiness. So I'm sure you can think of a situation right now that brings you happiness, a specific situation, like hanging out with the grandkids. That can bring happiness. And then joy, the concept of joy, on the other hand, is really a more deep-seated, enduring sense of contentment and fulfillment that comes from within. And this can be referred to as intrinsic happiness. So we've got situational happiness versus intrinsic happiness, or stumbling on happiness within our circumstances versus generating joy, which comes from within and we have full control over. So I wanted to share with you 6 attributes that characterize joy and happiness. And they're listed right here on the screen. And then also, as we go through these 6 attributes, we'll define which one kind of leans more in the happiness realm and which leans more to the joyful realm. I'll have mind moments that I share with you. I'm big on these mind moments, mindset opportunities. And I will be sharing with each one of these attributes a mind moment that you can tap into right now to enhance your joy. And you'll see this light bulb with a brain inside of it to recognize the mind moments on the screen. So let's start with fulfillment. Joy encompasses a really deep sense of fulfillment, and it comes from within, and it is totally independent of our external circumstances. Oftentimes, you can find that joy and fulfillment when your circumstances are better, are not as good as you would like them to be, but you still find joy. So, reflects really on a state of being and being satisfied with your life as a whole and not being contingent on what happens to be going on right now. So, the mind moment is for you to engage in a daily gratitude practice. So many people have adopted this gratitude practice. And do you have one that you use consistently almost every single day? You'll find that it makes a big difference because those routines do something internally to help train your brain. So that's the first mind moment. The next one we're going to talk about is elation, being elated, like intense excitement, being exhilarated. And these are often feelings that are triggered by certain achievements or really positive, fun surprises and other pretty exceptional experiences that can make you feel elated. But it's related most to happiness and the feeling of the particular situation that you're in. Now, I'm curious if you have ever created your own personal celebration routine. For when you do have exciting things happen in your life, how do you internalize that to put it into your joy meter? There are some ideas for personal celebration rituals. And if you have something really fun that you do and you'd like to share with us, I'd love to have you post it in the comments. What is your celebration routine? How you can take the happiness in the moment and turn it into a more long-term benefit for yourself and those around you. Now let's think about bliss. This is really kind of a characteristic of joy because bliss is kind of a state or a feeling of immense happiness and peace combined together. And it really goes beyond that momentary happiness. It's characterized by a profound sense of well-being. Profound sense of well-being. And I know for myself, when I started focusing more on the aspects of generating joy versus just stumbling on the happiness that comes in our life here and there, it became a lot more profound, this sense of bliss and comfort in the situation I'm in, regardless of the external things that are going on around me. And our mind moment for bliss is to dedicate time for meditation, for you to just really focus your mind on a specific thought or a specific activity that can really slow you down and focus your mind on bliss, the internal bliss, the internal joy. Taking time to just respect it and appreciate it. Our next vocabulary word is delight. So it's really happiness, pleasure, excitement, and you kind of delight in a specific situation, specific circumstances that kind of light you up. And often it is those temporary states that we get so delighted about because we know that life is not always about being on those mountaintop experiences. That's where the happiness is, up here at the top. But then when we go back down into the everyday life and things that we have to balance and coordinate and navigate in our everyday lives, that's where the joy comes in. But in the meantime, we do enjoy lots of delightful activities and opportunities with our circumstances. So our mind moment for this is to engage in a joy jar. a joy jar activity. And it's just getting yourself a jar and putting in some of these delightful moments that you've had, some of the circumstances that you've been in that bring lots of excitement. Put them in that joy jar so you can revisit them later and consistently. It's not like a fleeting moment of happiness. It becomes a more active activity for generating joy in your life on a continual basis. I know for my family and I, when my kids were younger, we had a thankful jar or a gratitude jar that we used at Thanksgiving. We would put the things we were thankful in there each Thanksgiving, and then the next year we would get that jar out and revisit it and then add to it. So that's a mind moment. That's an opportunity to revisit things that bring you joy. Now let's think about radiance and the joy that comes from within when you radiate. It's emanating from you. It's a sense of inner light and positivity. And people will comment that, wow, you just light the room up. And it's really a quality that can be felt within oneself, and often its positive impact reaches out to others. You know, happiness is where we're stumbling on fun things, we do things together, but it's temporary. But this ability to impact others in a positive manner comes from within, and it can be ongoing. And that's the cool thing about it. So, our mind moment is for you to practice acts of kindness towards others, doing things for others, not in excess, but from the heart. Things that you know will positively impact others. And it could even be just the smallest thing about getting in touch with someone else, connecting with someone, especially when it's unexpected. Now, let's think about the word contentment. That sometimes I think can be associated with joy as well, but often feeling content is a state of satisfaction and ease in the moment, in your particular circumstance. And it really implies that you can be at peace and have a sense of fulfillment, even in more situations that are temporary or situation dependent. So, contentment can sometimes be based on temporary and situational activities, but we can also take that contentment and build it into our everyday lives. And one way is to practice a gratitude walk. Taking time to, whether you're walking outdoors, in the store, around campus, in your home, walking around specifically offering gratitude for the things that are in your immediate environment. This is done independently. It's not dependent on a situation with someone else or a relationship with someone else. It's really something that you do on your own in the quietness of your own walk. And through these 6, and you see how they can kind of a little bit of an emotional check-in. Play, take a couple seconds, and come to mind rather quickly? Your head when we said pure joy and engage all of your like for me, and you can hear the birds and you can sometimes hear dogs or describe how you're feeling after chat. Deep breath and open your eyes. In this Day of Joy Summit, the path of joy. And there's some activities in there to increase. It's called the Joyful Journey. Listening to this live joy and happiness and fulfillment. We all money during COVID is when we and then I also have two and I to get to know each other better. You see now as a difference or just stumbling on joy.
But Cindy, we